Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started. Hello, you beautiful, radiant, fabulous, brilliant, incredible, amazing human. You magnificent, spectacular light worker, light leader, visionary, divine goddess. You are magnificent. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so excited about our time together. I'm looking forward to our conversation together, even though it's kind of a funny or interesting topic to be excited to talk about. So the topic for today is all about energy vampires. And we're also going to add in a little bit about the topic of demonics and energy suckers of every kind. Entities, right? There are 4 different categories. You wouldn't think I'd be excited about it, but the reason I'm excited about it is because it's a fun topic. To me, it's funny. And that's because I'm in the light and I look at those beings like, really, you have no power. You're just a bunch of energetic parasites. And I want you to be able to look at them that way too. They're beings in the non-physical world. Okay, let's get clear. Energy vampires is not the same thing. Totally different topic, but we're going to cover it today from entities and demonics and other like life force hitchhikers, suckers. So let me do some definition about these first and why I think this is a fun topic, because the reason it's a fun topic is because none of them have any power over me, nor do they ever affect me or get anywhere near me. And I want that to be the way it is I want you to have that too. I want you to have that experience as well, if you are willing to go here with me. So let's first talk about energy vampires. This would be a great topic maybe for the next call, because I want to keep these separate. But energy vampires are usually people who are in the physical world who feed off your energy, right? They're the people who are draining, exhausting, depleting. They're the naysayers, the whiners, the complainers. For those of you who are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, visionaries, you probably have seen them as some of your customers who either never say thank you, never give you credit, never appreciate you. I've had those guys around me too in the past. They're the whiners and the complainers. Maybe if you're not an entrepreneur or solopreneur, or even if you are, but in the family, they're the people who are kind of negative. They're always negative. They can't necessarily see or perceive the good in something. Maybe they're the people who have a very small mind. Maybe they're the people who they're just energy vampires. They're not positively uplifting you. They're more like draining. It's all about what they can get out of you or from you. Wow, I should make this a two-part class right here. Yeah, because I could go on about that, right? Those are not really so much what we're going to talk about today, but those people, I'll make a separate call about that next week, right? I wanted to talk today more specifically about beings in the non-physical world. And those beings in the non-physical world who kind of do the same thing, only with a similar range, only they're non-physical. Those are entities, demonics, hitchhikers, and they're like wayward beings in the non-physical. Now, we're not talking about ghosts who are like apparitions. We're literally talking about non-corporeal, non-physical entities, beings whose only job for the most part is to somehow siphon your energy. So they are energy suckers and energy vampires, but they're not humans in bodies. They don't have bodies and they have different reasons and purposes, but they're living off your life force. And most people are affected and afflicted by them to various degrees in their lives. And they, a lot of times, don't know it. Oftentimes, these non physical, non corporeal beings who are just troublemakers for the most part, they like to have influence. And they're in the game of duality. They're in this game where there's just everything's available here. They get to do, that's their role in this game. So I would love to bring more light to this. I think it's kind of fun because once you do elevate past them or beyond them, you realize they have zero power, even though they seem to have so much power and they're so ominous and everybody's afraid of them. Like, oh my God, you've got entities. Oh my God, there's entities around you. Oh my God, there's demonics. They can cause a lot of havoc. But once you claim your power and you know yourself as the light that you are, they have no power or influence over you. Now, let me just do a little shameless plug here. I have a whole class on this. I have a full course on this called Dark Arts Training, where it's not just about this, it's how to work with this stuff and clear it. It is a healing class, but it's how to work with anything that you're afraid of, really, any kind of fear or stuff, anything like that. And it's in there, but there's also a standalone class on entities and demonics, clearing, healing, and resolving them. I did that because over the years, I had so many friends and colleagues and professional light workers and high vibe beings who, on their journey, would get caught up in the energies of demonics and their kids as well. I'd have people calling me about their kids and can you help my kid? And my kid can't get free of these entities. And so many people who get sidestepped and don't know how to clear. So I created that class. It's a standalone class. And chances are you can still get your hands on it. I can't guarantee that forever, but at the time of this recording, if you email us, it's not an automation. It's not something you can necessarily find. But if you email us through the website at lauriespagna.com, we can probably get it for you. There is a price tag attached to it. So the standalone class is a very easy, nothing fee, but the full dark arts training courses requires a bigger investment. Not huge, but it's a full course. In any case, if you want access to that, you can go through the website at lauriespagna.com to get more. But let me stay with this conversation for now. So entities are non-corporeal, non-physical beings who are just, I call them like troublemakers. They have no other real reason to exist other than to basically experience this reality without bodies, but they can't really do anything without a body. They can't really, they're just being, they're just there as conscious entity. Nothing they can do until they kind of hitchhike onto a person or animal. And from there, they can wreak havoc, right? They can create physical issues. They can cause or contribute to physical issues. They can cause and contribute to mental unclarity, lack of focus, lack of clarity, lack of right thinking. They can influence your thoughts and they can influence your emotions. They can make you feel down, drained, exhausted, depleted. They're basically feeding off your energy and your life force. They don't really have any other real role. The moment you start realizing that you have the power of free will to say that you will not accept or tolerate it, and you are unwilling to allow it, and it's against your free will, that's the answer, by the way, then they start losing power over you. Now, there's a way to do it, of course. There's a right way to do it, because if you're energetically afraid of them or entangled with them or playing with them, if you have all kinds of loneliness or self-sabotage programs, if you think that they're your best friend, or if you've misabused your power or taken on entities for others, or if there's contracts in your unconscious. By the way, if all the stuff I just said rattles you at all, go back and listen to the 3 episodes in a row on trauma clearing and shadow work. But these entities, because that will explain what I just said, these entities get into your energy field because of those things: unconscious patterns in you, unconscious thoughts, beliefs, opinions, contracts, energy, and then they can wreak havoc. But really, once you start identifying that you're sovereign and it's against your free will to have them, to engage with them, and you start claiming your power and knowing how to do so, they really have no power over you. The problem is that they're usually at a bandwidth energy of fear. And if you're in that framework of that energy of fear, imagine yourself in a playground. And inside that playground, there's a lot of kids throwing sand, and sand gets in your eye, and people are being mean, and there's bullies and not nice kids, and there's no good teacher supervision. Like, you're in that playground and stuff happens. Now imagine yourself in another playground, and in that playground, everyone's playing nicely and everyone's having a good time, and kids are sharing, and there's good teachers and there's good supervision, and the sun is shining and everyone's happy, right? Entities can't come in that playground. It's not the energy. So the idea is that you're in a playground of energy. That energy has fear and pain and unhappiness and unpleasantness to some degree or another. That's how those entities get in. Now, it happens in different environments, of course, places like a jail or somewhere where there's extreme suffering, a hospital. Yes, it can happen in anywhere where there's a lot of heaviness. It can happen in a gym, by the way. You have some people lifting weights and they're angry that their body's fat, or they're mad that they're whatever. They take their emotions in, there's density. I'm not saying it automatically always happens. I'm saying it can happen anywhere where there's any form of disharmony, pain, suffering, anywhere where people are in any way, shape, or form experiencing any kind of disharmony, which is pretty much anywhere on earth. So the idea is to not be vibrationally resonant with them and reclaim your power. It's really that simple with the entities. Now, there is a practice, there is a process. It's more than I can go into here, but it's not more than you can't learn in an hour, which is why I referenced that class if you're interested. Now, understanding though this, that they have no power over you, these entities, I haven't gotten to the demonics yet, but they have no power over you. The moment you say with your free will, you're not interested in interacting with them, and it's against your free will that they be anywhere near you or in your energy field, you're reclaiming your power right there, because you have the power of free will. One of these days I'll do a class on universal laws, but just let that be known. Your free will reigns supreme over those entities. And at the same time, you have to make sure you're not in the sandbox. In other words, the energy, the playground, where there's fear, pain, suffering, being cruel, being hurtful to others, because that is where they play. You can't be in that energy bandwidth. That's why you have to learn how to uplift and elevate your vibration and clear the energy that would, from your field, clear the wounds and traumas that would keep you stuck in that form of density. I hope this makes sense. So that's where entities play. All they do is siphon your energy. Sometimes they whisper things in your ear like, go eat that sweet donut. Oh, it's okay. Have that sugar cookie. They whisper things in your ear and you think they're your thoughts a lot of times. Sometimes they are your thoughts, but a lot of times it's just energy trying to sway you, influence you. They're telling you, spend that money, have that drink. play, because if you stay in density, they can keep being around you. Sometimes they'll say things like, oh, don't bother doing that work. Like they're just wreaking havoc in your life. Sometimes they'll create a tickle in your throat that will make you keep coughing. Sometimes they'll create a ringing in your ear that confuses you. Well, do I have tetanus? What is this ringing in my ear? Like, why does this keep happening? I'm not saying that's always entities. I'm saying sometimes it could be, because there are non-physical, non-corporeal beings in this world, and they're just having play dates. And because they're not seen, and people in the third dimensional reality don't know that they're there and haven't reclaimed their power, haven't learned how to use their free will power, these entities are just messing with them. Now, entities, they can also create blockages in the animal, in your animals. Your animals absorb them. Cats are famous for taking on entities. They're interdimensional beings, cats, right? If you've ever seen pictures of animals with the animals, it looks like their eyes are glowing. It's usually because those animals have entities and they need the entities cleared. Smokers, drug users, alcohol drinkers, they have a lot of entities. All forms, even plant medicine can come with entities. You have to interact with the intelligence of the plant in a whole new way, whole new level, if you're going to interact with plant medicine. Some teachers know it, some teachers don't. Are you in the playground with the teachers who really get it? Or are you in the playground with the teachers who don't, right? So entities cannot affect you. I want to make this clear. When your vibration is really high, high meaning pure, entities cannot affect you when you are truly living in accordance with your role in God's plan. Not really. Maybe temporarily, but not really. Entities cannot affect you when you're living in peace, harmony, and balance and alignment with your divinity. Entities cannot affect you when your energy centers are cleared out. Entities cannot affect you when you're maintaining your natural organic alignment with source. Entities cannot affect you when you're not in the vibrations of fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, frustration, anger, shame, blame, resentment, grudge, etc. They can't play in the higher realms. They can't get there because by their very nature, they're dense, heavy energies that are clear. You can't see them really, though sometimes you could see them as black lights or dark lights that pop up, but most of the time you can't see them at all. They're non-physical. They don't carry a lot of light. So they can't make it into those higher realms because they're just made up of stuff of the lower realms, non-physical, non-corporeal consciousness that doesn't really have anything truly positive. That's why they need you, right? So when you clear your field, heal and resolve your issues, they can't even affect you. But in the meantime, just claim your right to be free from them. Use your sovereignty, right? I could do another podcast on that, but I hope this makes sense. Now let's go into the topic of demonics because they are a lot more nefarious. They are not just like playing in a playground. They have harmful intent. They're the same category, but they have the intent to cause harm. And these beings really come in with drug users, drug addicts. They come in with alcohol, all forms of addiction, whether it's food addiction, spending addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. I mean, whatever other kind of addiction, sex addiction, they are almost always in the person's field because they're the voice in the head that tells you. They're not the only reason, but they're a contributing factor, a major contributing factor. If a person doesn't know how to clear entities, they could be an overeater, gambler. I didn't even mention that one, gambling addiction. I just heard that in my head. Somebody whispered in my ear from my own team. So addiction requires someone to know how to work with entities or especially demonics because they'll be the voice that tells you, go have that sugar, go smoke that cigarette. Come on, you can eat another donut. Come on, go have that beer. One more beer is not going to hurt. Okay, one more puff isn't going to hurt. You know how that goes, right? So these guys are a lot more dangerous in that sense. And of course, they can eventually take over a body, and that's what's called the possession. then the person's out of their mind, right? The person's out of their mind. They can also create suicidal programs. I mean, that is where demonics get really out of control, right? In my awareness, a lot of suicide, a lot, not all, is caused by demonic interference. It's the voice in the head saying, jump off that cliff, jump off that bridge, come on, go hang yourself. It'll all be better. That's just what they do. They cause that kind of chaos. And because our reality does not recognize it and is not using that as a tool to clear ourselves of that stuff, we don't realize. And you can help other people. Now, religion recognizes clearing demonic. Some organized religion, you can go to different churches, different organized religions to get a demonic clearing. Some of them will do it well, some of them won't. I never went to a church to do that. I never witnessed it or learned of it through a church or an organized religion, but I have heard some people in my communities who have done it. Some have done it with a lot of effectiveness, others not. So it depends, like anything. Good practitioners, non-practitioner, like effective and non-effective. Again, I teach this. It's so easy. Inside of an hour and a half, that class is. To me, it's nothing. But it's terrible how they affect people. They also can affect people to do all kinds of things in illogical, irrational ways, illogical, irrational things. Schizophrenia, if Western medicine would start using this tool, I would be willing to bet that multiple personality disorders and schizophrenia could largely be resolved. Not wholly. I understand it's not the only reason. It's a significant contributing factor. Now, I'm not a Western medicine doctor. I'm a spiritual healer. I've learned this through spiritual practice. I'm a reverend. So, through my spiritual practice, I have learned about this. And through my role as a healer, I have learned how to use and apply the tools and the consciousness and the energy to clear these things. And I have done it for so many humans and animals. I cannot believe how effective and easy it is. But it requires one thing, it requires the person's willingness. They don't have to even do that much, but they have to be willing. In the case of entities and demonics, a person doesn't even have to be willing, because as a servant of God, as a light worker, when we learn how to use energy as healers and we learn how to do this, we can do that without someone's free will consent, because the entity or the demonic is breaking law, not the person. Breaking God's law by interfering in someone else's free will space. But the issue has more to do with the fact that most people don't know that they have entities, or they don't know they're playing in a bandwidth of fear or that type of playground, right? In that example. And so they call it back in. And fear attracts entities and demonics like nobody's business. Fear, worry, doubt, shame, judgment, blame. Those are some really low frequencies. Grudges, resentments, hospital rooms, hospital spaces, medical offices where there's pain and suffering. I've seen people who are acting so illogical and irrational, and they don't even know they have entities and demonics around them. Addictions, bars, places where there is addiction, gambling places, alcohol places, that's where they hang out, and you can't see them. And that's where people pick them up, and then they stay until the person doesn't even know they're there. So learning how to clear them from your field is very important. But first, just becoming aware that they're there. And there's nothing to be afraid of, because the truth is they have no power over you. And I'm giving you this tool right now. Learn, and I will do a future episode on this, to use the power of your free will. I have a lot of this in the sacred mentorship. It's in there, and also in the membership, which is a home study program, the sacred membership, where I teach this. The class is a standalone. You can certainly request it if it's available. We can do that for you. And then again, it's in the dark arts training class, the full course as well. But just learn that your sovereign right to be a sovereign being, your free will choice, to have no one and nothing interfere in your energy space without your full and complete free will consent, that's law. You start claiming that right, the universal law of free will will start standing up for you. I get it. I got to do a whole other teaching on the universal law, but just claiming your right to be a free and sovereign being alone will make huge progress for you. And then make sure you're doing healing work, which is an ongoing process, that you're healing and resolving any form of fear, doubt, disbelief, skepticism, all those cynicism, all those energies, resentment, grudges. You don't want that in your field. You don't want to play with that energy. I mean, of course, you have free will. You can if you want, but those are for the lower realms. That's for third dimensional reality. And if you're in this group, right, you're elevating up out of that, right? You're not choosing that anymore. You're liberating yourself from that. So doing the fear healing and all that energy healing that we talked about in the earlier episodes on resolving, shadow work and trauma healing will help you understand more of that. You want to get that out of your field because it's keeping you stuck or blocked. And then once you get out of that field of density, of lack, of suffering, it also happens, by the way, that kind of thing, you can get attracted to that if you're doing any kind, and nobody in this group is, but prostitution, selling inappropriate sexual acts, sexual addictions, etc. I mentioned that, I think. That's where you're vulnerable to it. So get yourself out of situations, circumstances where you're vulnerable to it, which I get that sounds easy, but if someone has an addiction, it's not as easy. But understanding this concept will free and liberate yourself to some degree, because as you become more conscious of it, you can free and liberate yourself. Now, get yourself out of those circumstances, do healing on the traumas, the unconscious shadow work, and use the power of your free will to command that not only are you a sovereign being, but that you are a single soul occupant, the only one allowed to occupy this soul occupation, this soul space is you and only you and no one else. All right, I hope this has been helpful. They're just a bunch of energy that feed off of people who have no power. You are involved in this podcast because you are reclaiming your power. You are reclaiming, and many of you are already powerful, powerhouse luminaries, light workers, way showers, change agents, right? Visionaries, light leaders, divine goddesses out there in the world making magic and miracles happen, right? And bringing in more light of your own into the world and being your magnificent self. So be that. There is no room for these little, who do they think they are? They don't have any power over us, right? It's about becoming more of the light that doesn't even allow any of that stuff to come anywhere near us. It's so easy. It really is. I don't mean to make it sound like I understand how much pain and suffering they cause and contribute. And that's why I'm doing this episode, so that you can start to realize and reclaim your right to be a single soul occupant. You can help others too. And to really recognize that they have no real power over you once you elevate out of and beyond those lower energy bandwidths of the fear frequencies by raising your vibration and healing core wounds and traumas, and also recognizing your power. That's such a huge part of what we do inside of Sacred Visionary Mentorship and in all of my classes, workshops, seminars, retreats. It's all about reclaiming our power and reigniting and awakening the light within, right? Realigning ourselves with our source so we can be who we are meant to be, the greatest, most magnificent, luminescent versions of ourselves, the brilliance and the spectacularness that we're here to bring through and to offer the world and make lasting legacy and global impact, really, to help support and assist humanity and to serve the light. All right. I hope this has been helpful to you. I promise it will help you in your businesses too, because it will reveal more light in, through, and around you. So please let me know how you liked the episode. I love to hear from you. Stay in touch. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to do a second episode right after this for you on the energy vampires, because I know that will help you too. Treat it as a separate episode. So look for that in the future notes, in the future episodes. And in the meantime, I'm going to sign off and say farewell for now. Love you so much. Wishing you your most benevolent best as always. Now go out there and be your most magnificent self. Until next time, bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.